So the Ubisoft live stream starts. And it goes, you know how like usually at the beginning of a live stream where you have games, like it'll say like, here is what the games are rated. And usually it says like RP through M for like a Sony showcase or like a Microsoft showcase or something like that. I think you have to do that if you are streaming it to like people. It just straight up starts with AO, which is for adults only, which is like 18 and up in the US. Do you know anything about the AO rating, Justin?
It's for adults only.
Good. Do you know anything else about the AO rating?
It's not a good. You shouldn't have a game that's an AO if you want it to be popular.
So yeah, because like GameStop, Walmart, EB Games, like a lot of retailers will not stock AO games. Like most major retailers will just straight up not stock those sorts of games. So if you want your games to have any sort of popularity, you need to get an M rating at the very most. Which, by the way, is not like super difficult. You have to just make sure that you are, being conscious of like your sexual content and like nudity and stuff like that. Those are the things that really get flagged for AO in the United States. But with Assassin's Creed Mirage, basically it's on the listing on the Microsoft Store and I think on Steam maybe. Unclear. On the Microsoft Store, at the very least, it said that it was listed as having intense violence, blood and gore, sexual themes, partial nudity, and real gambling. So having real gambling where you put real money into a video game and like have the ability to win or lose that money, like you have to be 18 to do that. Like that's, video poker, right? And so if you want to include that in a video game, like a, ESRB rated video game, that is going to be AO no matter what. So that's a weird thing to include in a small back to the roots Ubisoft video game, huh?
Right. And I mean, we're recording this on Monday night and there've been a couple like updates on this story, but like it's still not changed as of now, right?
I don't think so. So basically, talking to gamesindustry.biz, in an article by Brendan Sinclair titled "Ubisoft denies latest Assassin's Creed has adults only rating and real gambling." So in a statement to gamesindustry.biz, Ubisoft said this: following the announcement of Assassin's Creed Mirage during Ubisoft Forward, some store pages mistakenly displayed the game for pre-orders with an adults-only ESRB rating and are being fixed, the publisher told gamesindustry.biz. While Assassin's Creed Mirage is still pending rating, Ubisoft wants to reassure players that no real gambling or loot boxes are present in the game. The article goes on to say, the publisher did not explain how the AO rating found its way into the official Ubisoft Forward live stream. That's the weird part, right? Like, I guess it would make sense if there was some sort of error, like on Microsoft's side for their, store listing or whatever. But like, it was you had the assets for that, Ubisoft. Like, that wasn't the sort of thing that just like slipped by. Like, you have the assets for that. You made that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just so weird.
Which leads me to think that at a certain point, this was what it was going to be.
It leads me to think that it's just in the game.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's mistakenly displayed the game for pre-orders with an adult-only content, and they're being fixed. Like, that's an immediate thing to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is like...
It's just like, why, like, if they had the AO ESRB rating, like the graphic for it, and we're fucking putting it in their Premiere timeline or whatever the hell, like, you had that, so you knew about it. It's such a weird like statement to not even address, like, oh yeah, and we thought it would be too, but I guess not. I don't know. This is one of those things where like I'm not surprised. This is Ubisoft. Ubisoft is like very much this, right? Like Ubisoft loves to do to throw their loot boxes in, and I mean arguments can be made about like is that gambling, for another time, but like. To have a rating for real gambling is like a big deal. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of red flags coming out from this. Not only the AO thing's weird to me, but it just seems like people were praising Ubisoft when they're like, we're only going to be releasing Assassin's Creed mainline game every other year. They're going to take a year off. And then we get this thing coming up. I don't know when these releases are, but it's like, here's 12 new titles. We're just going to stock everything with Assassin's Creed. And you can gamble in it. And it's for adults only. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It seems like...
No, go on.
I was going to say, it just seems like a very, like, regression, a big regression from Ubisoft with all of this stuff. And I don't know, just an odd choice.
100%. I actually thought that, like, hey, you know, an AO rating means they can't be sold in Target or Walmart or GameStop or wherever, right? But it's the kind of thing where, like, you know what? Ubisoft could probably take a look at their options, right? And say, like, 95% of people who buy our games digitally. You know, Microsoft will put that on the store. Sony will put that on the store. So, like, what if we just did that? You know, included the real gambling in it, included whatever, so that we can make all this money. You know, and, you know, you have to be an adult to buy it or have an adult account to buy it. But, like, you know what I'm trying to say? To me, I was almost respected the idea of just like, you know what? Fuck it. This is what it is. You know, and we're going to take the hit of not selling any physical copies of this. But at what point do we just have to say, like, well, we're not selling any anyway? You know, I don't know. This is just such a weird thing. And on top of this, by the way, Ubisoft said that all of its AAA games are going to cost $70. Which, we've talked about this. Like, you know, sell your games for the price you got to sell them for. That's fine. But it is one of those things that's just like, it's just such a weird. It's such a weird week for this company.
I know. It's strange. It's odd. It's, you know, I think there are going to be a lot of issues that come up with gambling, I think, in the next coming years.
Yeah.
Not only in video games, but like how easy it is for people to start gambling now with like any of these like sports bets, like apps and things like that.
It's like all advertised and stuff. Yeah.
It is so easy and so gamified for people to get into this that I really do hope that maybe this is a situation where this is me speculating. There's no news to back this up, but maybe they sent their game to get the ESRB rating, and then they looked at it, and the ESRB is like, this is oddly scary to being actual gambling. We're going to give you this AO rating. And they're like, but we have this forward we're doing tomorrow. And ESRB is like, sorry, if you're going to have this in the game, this is what it's going to be like. And Ubisoft's like, not a good look, but we can't lie about this, so we're going to take a few seconds to fix this and come back. Like, that to me, that's the only way this makes sense, is that it is like that situation where they found out some news that they weren't happy with, but they had to keep it in, and now they're just trying to PR their way through this to get it back, because they'll change it. Like, they're not going to release an AO game. They're not going to do it. Not worth it. But I don't know. I definitely feel like the gambling side of games and in general, I think that's going to be the thing that is more and more talked about in many industries, not just video games.